Bhaskar, for giving me this opportunity to speak. I think I want to start by saying two things. One is that I will focus more on medicines. I have two very distinguished colleagues who will talk a lot about vaccines. So I thought it would make sense for me to focus on medicines. But in the discussions later, we can always talk about vaccines in a common forum. The second thing is there are four sort of pillars of what I'm going to talk about. One is what is the public market for procurement? Second, what are the regulatory challenges in some of this? Third is what are the quality issues that we have to worry about? And then finally, hopefully some take-home messages on how procurement itself can be impacted by these various things. So my outline today is that everything the foundation does. So I will give a little bit of a foundation perspective on how we look at some of these issues. Everything goes back to Sustainable Development Goals of the UN, and even medicines or vaccines or diagnostics or all these aspects are connected to health. So I will talk a little bit about it. I will talk about the progress India has made on health. Then I will give a little bit of feedback on what the Gates Foundation itself works on. What do we work on globally? What do we work on India? Why is this important to us? Then talk a little bit about global demand for medicines. What is the broad global market? And of course, in the case of what the foundation is interested, we talk a lot about public procurement. We are not talking about private procurement in pharmacies. We are interested in understanding how governments systemically impact access to medicines for health. And then the key question, while everybody is struggling to figure out how much to export, are essential medicines available? Right? We have a very interesting gap. I worked in the pharmaceutical industry for many years. That there is excess capacity. People are saying we have a lot of capacity, tell us what products to make. On the other hand, essential medicines are not available. Why is there this strange dichotomy, right? And how do you bridge that dichotomy? And I also will talk about quality and affordability. I think we have really made the case for affordability, but talk about quality. I'll talk a little bit about the National Drug Survey that came out recently. I hope many of you have had a chance to look at it, but also reflect on quality issues in other countries. So if you think that essential medicines are not available only in countries like India, that's clearly wrong. I'll talk a little bit about essential medicines not being available even in countries of the United States and what are the issues, how are they tracking it, and it's a lot of different topics. My presentation will be quite short, but we can certainly talk about it in detail in some later stage. So I think this is the SDG chart that has been adopted by the UN General Assembly as a key goal for 2015. So it's a very ambitious set of 17 goals. If you look at goal number 3, that is completely connected to everything we're talking about, good health and well-being. And within good health and well-being, which is goal number 3, a key element is access to safe, effective, quality and affordable essential medicines and vaccines for all. It's a critical component of universal healthcare coverage. So it is absolutely critical that they're able to do this. And on top of getting access, the expectation is that the world will work on new medicines where there is a gap. And so you can see that both these areas are very critical to what the foundation's interests are. So, if you talk about a subject like antimicrobial resistance or TB developing resistance or malaria or any of these particular areas, this has become a very critical aspect. How do we innovate and make new medicines or new vaccines? So coming back to where India is today, India has made significant progress over the last 25-35 years. So if you look at 1991, over 2 million children died before their first birthday in 1991. There has been a 50% decline in mortality since then to 2015. 100,000 mothers died at childbirth. This is just astonishing. Essentially, you have more than 300 women dying every day as a consequence of this 1991. So about a 50% decline in both these over the last 35 years. I wish the progress was even faster, but it is progress in the right direction at least. And over 20% of the world generics and 50% of the vaccines are supplied by India. So tremendous progress on those fronts. We have also added significantly to the life expectancy of people in India. So that's, I think, a snapshot of where the progress has been. And I want to talk a little bit about what the Gates Foundation does. We look at two different things. What are the areas of greatest need and where are the areas where we can have greatest impact as in our capabilities. So when you look at our global reach, we have offices in India, obviously in New Delhi, but our headquarters is in Seattle. We have offices in Europe, in Africa. We have 3 offices: Nigeria, Ethiopia, South Africa, and China as well. We have about, in 2014, and this number has not changed too much, we had about 1900 grantees. We are essentially a grant-making organization. We don't have any labs, we don't do any manufacturing, we just give money to people to get data or develop new technologies. We distribute about $4 billion annually in terms of grants, so it's not a significant sum of money in one way of looking at it, because you can imagine a country like India has a GDP of $4 trillion, so it's a very small amount in terms of big GDPs of big countries, but it is something we want to do catalytically. We have about 1,300 to 1,400 employees globally as well. Now coming to what do we do in India? In India, the foundation works at 3 levels. We work with government, because I think government is absolutely critical in the healthcare space. We work with private sector. Many of you know that we work with the vaccine companies in India, in particular Serum Institute, Bharat Biotech, Biological E. We've also worked with Shanta. When I was on the other side of the equation, we worked on the cholera vaccine with Shanta. So we work on many different projects, but primarily around vaccines. And in India, we also work with the community. Essentially, healthcare is delivered often through the community. Obviously, the ASHA workers, the Anganwadi workers, the ANM are critical in the areas I talked about, the maternal health and child health. So these are critical areas that we work on. Our hope in the division that I work in is to look at innovation as a way of solving problems. So this is a curve, this is a graph that talks about a time where you have 2 curves. You have the blue curve and the orange line. The orange curve is relatively poor countries which are performing well. This is not rich countries, poor countries that are performing well. And the blue line is the richer countries in the low income world who are not performing well. Why are they not able to meet the gap? Right? Why is there a gap? So we believe a key aspect of it is understanding science, new innovation in a social context to achieve what is called a convergence in 2035, where all the mortality, and you can imagine this is also true for even a country like India, right? There are different states. Some states are at very low levels of IMR or MMR, other states are high. When will a UP or a Bihar converge with a Tamil Nadu or a Kerala or Andhra Pradesh or a Telangana, right? So that is how we are looking at it. What are the innovations? How do we just wait for development to happen? Can we short circuit that time in which takes to do it? And this is the last slide on what the foundation works on. In the innovation context, we look at 3 different categories. The first category is new knowledge from new tools. So understanding how can you use the latest molecular tools to understand child mortality in drive growth. We don't even really fully understand why children die. We are guessing. If you look at all the pie charts about diarrhea, pneumonia, neonatal infections, some of it is guesswork. A lot of it is through verbal autopsies and things like that. The evidence is not quite as concrete. How can we improve the evidence? Many of you are familiar with the global burden of disease. These are 2 publications that came out to explain how disease burdens are changing. Non-communicable going up, communicable coming down. Within that, what are the trends? Bringing together large data sets to understand results is all essentially public goods that we are creating. The one that people are more familiar with are the new products to help improve public health: rota, cholera, pneumonia, typhoid. And then a big success that we had with the Menafrivac, that with Serum Institute, really essentially wiping out meningitis A in sub-Saharan Africa and meningitis B. New medicines and combinations. We are working on a triple drug therapy in lymphatic filariasis, which was just announced yesterday in Indonesia. This result of these studies. We're working with ICMR on these studies. New devices. One example, of course, the vaccine vial monitor. All of you are familiar with. Essentially, a foundation-funded product through PATH. The third way we work is again very relevant to the pharmaceutical industry. Public-private partnerships to solve problems which we talked about earlier. So you have highly resistant TB. Who cares about TB? Nobody, no companies really care about TB. How do you develop new drugs for TB? So the TB Alliance is a PDP that takes existing drugs from companies and pushes it through tests it in trials. You have the malaria vaccine as another example. Medicines for malaria or a malaria vaccine initiative. But we are also looking at medicines for malaria. Vaccines may not work. The RTSS study today, the Hindu editorial is there about resuming a different schedule and a different dosing for the RTSS, low dose RTSS. But we also need medicines. How do you cure people who have the disease so that they avoid spreading it? IRB on AIDS. We also look at open sourcing. So these are new ways of partnering, getting companies, getting funders, everybody together to see how can we all work together to solve common public health problems for which the market does not care. This is not, the market tends to care more about things that rich people are worried about usually. They don't really, doesn't care about people who are poor. So that is very important to understand. And that's in the context of what I'm talking about. I hope that will make more sense. So now moving to the global demand for medicines. If you look at global estimates, there are many different estimates, but roughly we believe the global sales of pharmaceuticals in the world is around $1,200 billion. It's huge. If you compare it to vaccines, vaccines are tiny. If you look at devices, devices are very tiny. So this is the big prize, if you will, but where we can have an influence. And the need, we believe, will be increasing because populations are aging. India is certainly going to age in the future and it's a big part of the world. But in general, populations are aging. People are living longer, which is a good thing, but also as a consequence, greater incidence of chronic disease. You can see the whole GBD framework, Global Burden of Disease framework coming into it to help you understand how this will be needed in the future. An interesting thing is most big companies are moving towards biotech and vaccines. So it's increasing to 20 to 25%. But please keep in mind, generics also is going to go up significantly, 30 to 40%. You've had Prime Minister Modi talking about generics significantly in the last few days. So, you know, it's something that, and the whole Jan Aushadhi thing that Dr. Appaji and I spoke about earlier, but this is going to be a big part of it. And it's again because there's also the other pressure. We're spending too much on healthcare. How can we spend less on healthcare? So I think that this is important to think about in the global demand. India as a country has played quite a significant role in terms of volumes. If you look at the pharmaceutical product markets, our estimate is we provide about 33% equivalent of the US generics market. In the vaccines, we are about 50%. But in terms of value, we are at 1 to 2%. So our value across the board is about 2%. If you take vaccines or pharmaceuticals or devices, it's very low. If you take the devices market, it's about a fourth or third or fourth of the pharma market. Again, we think the India devices market is about 1%. So good to think in terms of where are we playing, how are we playing, and where are we critical. If you look at the international procurement, which is of interest to us, the highest public procurement in the world actually is the US. US Medicare spends about $98 billion, which is about 16% of the total spend of Medicare. Below that, again, another US organization, PEPFAR, which is the President's Initiative for Emergency Relief, is about 6.7 billion. It also funds Global Fund. Now we put in money as the Gates Foundation into the Global Fund. So this is where we start playing a role. Our 4.5 billion, part of it goes into things like this. It also goes into Gavi, but I'm not talking about vaccines today. We are the biggest contributor for Gavi as well from vaccines perspective, but I think you will hear the other gentleman. Unitaid, which actually is a tax on airline tickets, is about 2 billion, primarily on HIV. Global Fund is around TB, HIV, malaria. Then there is family planning, UNICEF. UNICEF funding actually is quite low for pharmaceuticals. It's much, much higher for vaccines. It's about 1.8 billion or so. Again, driven heavily by the polio program. India, if you look at it, my estimates for what the Indian domestic revenues, a simple number is about 100,000 crores. So we are about 15 billion in the world when you look at the ranking here, but it includes both private and public. If you probably start looking at public procurement, it may be 10-20% of that number. Most of it is private money. Who is spending this money on pharmaceuticals? Right? Again, this fits with the previous slides. The high-income countries are the biggest spenders on pharmaceuticals, even though they are only 16% of the total global population. So clearly the money is being spent there. We are maybe in the lower middle income kind of country range. We are only part of that 1 to 5% that is really impacting the world. And I would recommend for people who have not read it to really read this article in the Lancet, 2016 article. It's an excellent article on essential medicines for universal health coverage. So when you look at international medicines market, we have to really look at the procurement as part of the overall package, right? We need to understand what is the price, what is the procurement policy, very critical, let's say for an audience like this. How do you store it? How do you store medicines? There's no point in, very much to Dr. Amrit Rao's point, about are people storing the medicines properly? Are they storing vaccines properly? So you will see that cold chain strengthening is a key part of many, many countries, and particularly for vaccines. But even in the case of medicines, if you keep your pharmaceutical medicines at 40 degrees in a pharmacy here, I think you will imagine that you're accelerating that whole degradation pathway. Distribution, use, selection. I think here I must call out the Indian regulators who have done an incredible job. I don't know how you do it. You must be real heroes, because the amount of the geography you have to cover in terms of pharmacies, companies, etc. is, I think, impossible. Physically impossible. So I think there's clearly one of the key things I will talk about at the end is the challenge that how do you have a strong regulatory system? How do you support the people in the National Regulatory Authority to be effective in the job? Because they are always held accountable when something goes wrong. So I think we must look at demand, affordability, quality of drugs, rational use. We have a lot of irrational use of drugs. Important to understand that. New and innovative drugs I talked about, and the ecosystem within India. We talked a little bit about imports of critical raw materials and key raw materials and critical medicines. Why is that happen? And that's something which I will talk about later. So one question is, okay, that's the procurement system. Are essential medicines available? So if you look at the publications, 50 to 80% of the Indian population is not able to access all the medicines, despite India being the pharmacy to the world. This is very important. We are celebrated correctly as the pharmaceutical, but are we denying our own people these medicines? Are our people being able to take advantage? Why is that? So if you look at primarily PHCs at that level, when you go and interview people at PHC, when you do surveys, there is not that many surveys being done. You look at surveys, you find that often this is missing. So a key element of, I would say, a well-functioning supply chain is that people should be able to monitor availability of medicines. Very, very important, right? How can you forecast better? How can you distribute better? Procurement process, again, in many states in India, the procurement corporation, so this is a state subject, procuring medicines is a state subject. So in many states, the procurement agency doesn't even exist. This is crazy, right? The best functioning state in India is probably Tamil Nadu Medical Supplies Corporation. But many other states either the organization doesn't exist, or it's very hard to understand. Does not have enough money, does not have enough data, efficient officers, plus the fear of scams. The fear of scams is the big one, right? And this is something that all of you can recognize and understand, that it makes it very difficult for people to move. So we need strong leadership in much of this. Now, this article also estimated that what is the financing requirement if you want to procure medicines for everybody, right? It estimated that between $13 to $25 per capita is needed to finance a basic package of 201 essential medicines, 378 dosage forms in all LMICs. So if you take India's population of 1.3 billion, this is between 16.9 and $32 billion. This is sort of the estimate of what it would need. Some states are able to do it, many states are not able to do it, they are far below. How do they think about it? Again, primarily driven by generics. This is what I think, something like a Jan Aushadhi shop should be able to capture this availability of these medicines across the country. So there is some work to be done to understand where we are in this stage. So I will just move to drug quality, which is a key topic. I think there was an exceptional document that came out recently on the National Drug Survey that was done by the National Institute of Biologicals, and I'll talk about this. But I think I want to refer you to a headline that came out yesterday. Doctors vary as center pushes for generic drugs. So you can see that it's a very, very critical part of, at the end of the day, delivering medicines to people to understand what's the quality of drugs in the country. So this was actually an exceptional survey that was done. I think this is a very nice document to read. They looked at very, very structured, I think it was more than a 1-year program. I'm sure many of you were involved in it, especially in the regulatory front. Dr. Surinder Singh at the NIB was obviously the key champion behind this. Looking 15 categories, 224 drug molecules. What was the result they saw? They saw a result that said that government sources failures of test was up to 10%. And private retail outlets, they had 3% failures. What are the failures? Primarily, if I say two things, dissolution and assay. Right? So, this is a very interesting and very challenging problem for us to face. But I think it's going to be critical to, as I said, the previous headline, it's connected to this. But I think it's connected to the Indian companies and the Indian ecosystem as a whole. I will go back to what Dr. Appaji said, which is the top companies can handle this well. They know what to do. You will really not have any significant issues. It is the medium companies which really can benefit from understanding and thinking through this. And of course, the key question is who will support them, how will you support them, is going to be a key aspect, because for me, procurement is going to be connected to this. Imagine you are a procuring agency, you don't know what the quality is. And again, it goes back to the regulators, the state regulators, the national regulators. With the huge number of companies they're going after and pharmacies and all that, what is the bandwidth they have? 10,000 manufacturers in the country, you don't even know where everybody is, and a small staff, very small. And forget the pharmacies. You're supposed to regulate pharmacies. Dr. Amrita talked about catching people on the road. I think it's a very underappreciated challenge, and I have learned to appreciate it much more over the last several years. I think it's very important. But it is why this meeting of regulators and exporters is critical to understand or to get confidence. How is it in countries like China? So this is an article from the Lancet Global Health, May 2016, on pharmaceutical quality of antimicrobial drugs in South China, published by authors from China. Very important, right? So there you have amoxicillin, erythromycin, a few other antibiotics. How many are within the pharmacopoeia? How many are outside? Right? There is actually quite a issue there also. So if you look at it makes a lot of sense, right? What is China's primary interest today? How to get to the global standards in the pharma world. how to be competitive, and of course, if you look at the vaccine world, you'll see the same thing, how to be competitive, pre-qualification for, I think it's Chengdu, the JE vaccine, right? So so that is the key interest, how can we get there? But this is going to be a critical thing. Again, how do you ensure quality in procurement of government medicine? I'm hoping that, this slide, if you do the same thing, 3 years from now, can the government sources come down? Because that is where the public is really using the vaccine, the medicines. That 10% should come down to 1 or 0 if it can be possibly made. So I think that is going to be a key challenge, I imagine, in terms of doing the survey. How is it in economically advanced countries? So this is an article from 2014 talking about shortages even in rich countries. So it's not simply a supply chain as in do you have the right warehouse, do you have the right electronic system, but also the economic incentives behind manufacturing. So the top, and again sterile injectables, this is from the Wall Street Journal, looking at the number of drugs in short supply, it's over 300. What are the top reasons? Quality is the top reason. Top 2 reasons are quality. Manufacturing issues, delays and capacity. It's unbelievable, in fact, in terms of looking at it. It's the same, very similar kinds of issues that are across the ecosystem. How do you make it better? What are the underlying issues? This is a health policy brief from 2014 on drug shortages. What are the manufacturing incentives? Complex manufacturing process, and coming from the vaccine world, I know this very well, but it's true for any sterile injectable. And I think Parag, was my colleague for many years, and we've talked a lot about the complexity of manufacturing. Difficult to procure raw materials. Fragmented procurement, so people don't know between each other what is the right pricing, and there is a lack of coordination and the transparency in procurement. Why does the vaccine world work relatively better? The transparency is very high. There's a single pooled procurement at the central level. They know exactly, it's very well published, easy to analyze the data, and the aim is to make it easier and easier. Now, your customers will still tell you you're not transparent enough, but generally the pricing is well available. If I ask you what is the price of azithromycin in Telangana, in UP, in Bihar, just within India, it becomes hard to even understand how does the pricing change. So a transparent set of pricing rules and quality would be, I think, 2 key things in my mind, and there are other things as well. Stockpiling, another factor, and pricing, physician incentive for prescribing, again, is a key factor that drives things out. What is the impact of poor quality medicine? These are 2 articles I've shared with you. One from Pakistan, again published in Lancet Global Health, and another from Medicine Sans Frontier, MSF, talking about the issues that drugs have caused in terms of public health. So these are often countries that are procuring through the public system, important to have high quality products. I think quality should be viewed as a key competitive advantage for industry. I think the big players in India clearly have recognized this very clearly. They know essentially it's a survival. I think the DCGI's office clearly recognizes that, I would say. I hope the Pharmaceuticals also feels this is critically important. It will be important for the industry because ultimately it's about trust. If you have stories coming out, and I showed you the headlines from yesterday, doctors questioning, right? And trust in PHCs, and it's also the right thing to do. Right? The people who go, the poorest, most vulnerable people are the ones who are most exposed to it. But how do you keep global prices and affordability in mind? So I took this headline from The Wire, risky medicine, why FDI in India generics industry could be a bad idea. So there are multiple competing interests here, right? How do you strengthen? Where will the capital come to improve quality? Where will the training come? When you have 10,000 companies, I'm not referring to the top 20 or top 100. What about below 100? There's 9,900 companies. Maybe the top 500 are involved in procurement practices for the Indian government. So how do you think about price alone and from procurement point of view, is it L1 getting the bids every time? How do you make sure that you incentivize them? At least the key companies that are involved in public procurement, can you help them think through quality better? Where does the regulator come in? The state regulatory agency come in? Important to think about it, and then ultimately enable them. So one of the roles that the Gates Foundation plays in the DCVMN, the Developing Country Vaccine Manufacturing Network, is give access to quality consultants, advise on construction, advise on validation, and we actually fund that through our grants. Because our interest again is to make sure exactly this, keeping global price and affordability in mind, but making sure quality is good so that we don't have a doubt on the entire system. And of course, what are the hidden costs of quality? So I think the key take-home messages for me, the last two slides, ensuring transparent procurement, forecasting of requirements. We don't have good forecasts. That one article from Lancet is the one thing that I have in terms of what is the rough estimate of a budget that will be needed, which are the list of medicines. You have an NELM, you have a price control, but you don't really understand how much needs to be procured, which is why people don't have access to very basic medicines. Storage of medicines, information on shortages. Again, keeping in mind that even a country like the US has struggled to overcome shortages because some of these products are complex, and we know in the vaccine world the same issues are there. I think this is my last slide. The quantity of public money spent on medicine should increase. That was a slide on financing. How do we link quality to public and international procurement? I would say generics are critical component of the strategy of access. How do you give access? I think quality of medicines can be surely improved because we have high-performing organizations and middle-performing organizations who will spend capital and develop such mid-tier facilities. What is the strategic thinking of the government and of the private sector? Right? How do you do leveraged pooled procurement in a fragmented market? Again, the vaccines world is centralized procurement. How do you do that? Can we do that? First of all, having good functioning organizations within the states and broadly around the world. And of course, the Global Fund and other big international procurers are also thinking about the same things. If you look at what Global Fund is interested in, they're very keen to see how can we be more transparent, improve our processes. So again, shortages means it's a disaster for everybody. And I think lastly, I'll touch on this topic again. How do you do regulatory streamlining to ensure access? From our perspective, we want to make sure medicines are available rapidly. So I think a key element of it is increasing the bandwidth and capabilities of the regulatory system. How do we train enough people so that the regulatory system can be strengthened? There's a large number of vacancies in the regulatory system today. How do you help our colleagues there to be able to be more efficient in what they do? I think I'll stop there, and I think we will have a discussion later. Thank you.